Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Shack. This is actually a part 2. We don't do many part 2s because we have...
We don't have a lot to say, honestly.
No, we do have a lot to say, but we don't do many part 2. But this is a part 2, and it's the kind of... we went over our catalog knives last time, and assuming we didn't miss any, because
we might have.
We're talented that
if
way.
we did... we're just going to move on anyway because we got the other ones we wanted to talk about today, and there's a whole bunch of them.
Those names are unimportant.
We're gonna talk about what we call dealer knives, or knives that we make for specific people or people that maybe rebrand our knives. We're going to talk about a few of those different things today. But first, let me get the admin stuff out of the way. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably listening to it on
wherever you listen to podcasts.
Generally speaking.
Spotify?
Spotify is one of the choices, yes.
There you go.
Apple Music.
And if they're looking for it to listen to, where would they go?
Our website.
Google.
Or anywhere that you find podcasts.
So for you, those of you not listening, that's how you can start listening. So thanks for...
And thanks for not listening to us in the past, but
Right.
listening to us in the future.
Listening to us now. We like doing them.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we like doing them. And we're at the end of a cycle, so we have a few minutes to go ahead and do another podcast, this part 2 thing. But thank you for all the support and listening to The Shack. Don't forget to go to the website, check out our cool knives that we have for sale, check out our dealers, and that's who we're going to talk about today, some of the dealer knives. But check out our dealers. They have a lot of our really, really cool stuff. And don't forget Woods Monkey products. We have monkey boards over there, and we have some folders going on, and we have some new canvas products made for Woods Monkey by our friends at Pacific Northwest.
PNW Bushcraft.
PNW Bushcraft. Pacific Northwest Bushcraft, right? Yeah. Some great people out there. Check out their products as well. But welcome to The Shack. Appreciate you being here. My name is LT.
Scooter Harry Man on the inside.
Tyler.
I'm Mikey.
So I'm Nick.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm Sam.
That's funny because they listened to part 1.
That's
so
right. See, there's a tie-in joke, and if you don't understand it, go back and listen to part 1.
Or just Buckman, and you'll get it.
And if you don't know what that is,
Then look up hashtag
You're screwed.
I...
You
wait,
know.
Wait,
If you know, you know.
Oh,
What is the hashtag?
IFYKYK.
that confused me.
Okay, you know that
Wow.
Scott and I had no idea what that meant.
There's
'Cause
this
when I
thing
asked-
called Google. You carry it in your pocket. If you type that in, it tells you what it means.
But here's the thing. He
I
looks at
didn't
me
have time for that.
today. He looks at me and goes, "What is the hashtag IFY?"
The wildly ironic thing
F-
about that is,
And I said-
the hashtag for if you know, you know,
say the hashtag.
IFYKYK.
Okay. Well, he said to me that exactly. He says, "What is the hashtag?" And I said,
See, but
"If
that's
you know,
the
you
funny
know."
part is because
I
if
know.
you know what the hashtag is.
I know that, but I said, "If you know, you know." And he gave me the look like I'm a big dumbhead, and I'm being
Like
smart.
you were being mean.
And then you could see the trigger go
Got it.
off in his
It
head,
was
and he
a
went
who's
like,
on first moment.
"Oh, I get that," and laughed amongst himself because.
The three Scots all laughed together.
Yeah, we had a meeting. We thought it was funny. That was it.
So if you know, you know. It's a long story, but anyway, it's a hashtag thing. But thanks,
Always
hey
throwing up
guys,
hashtag
thanks
gang
for tuning into the Shack. We have a lot of fun doing it, and today we are going to talk about knives. Where do we want to start? Want to start at the very top?
Heck yeah, let's start right at the beginning.
Okay, well, the first one I wrote down may be different than what your beginning is.
Well,
the
I'm
fir-
looking at our website. What are you looking at?
Knife connections up top. Just
See, you guys got me confused. I wrote them down in this order.
Okay. Well, what's your first choice?
you got
We'll
your
start
name on
there.
a building. Do what the heck you want.
My
buddy.
my first thing is the Wild Harvest collections at the top for me.
Well, that's a solid place to start.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the Wild Harvest collection. Mikey, ready, go.
Our good friends, Chef Paul Rogowski and Les Stroud, more affectionately known as the Survivor Man, were doing a television show and came to us and asked us if they could work with us on designing some knives that they could use in their show, where Les goes out and forages for food, and then Chef Paul turns it into a delicious meal.
Yep.
Excellent idea.
And it has become quite the collection. Let's start off about talking about the kitchen knives. Well, Paul was looking for a very pro set
Yes.
of chef, or I say chef knives, kitchen Professional kitchen knives. How's that? So we had him draw up what he was looking for. Now, this was funny because this was during the whole pandemic thing.
Yeah, there was
So
a lot
I'm
of
at home.
emails.
Mikey's at home. Paul's at home. He's in Canada. And he is sending pictures with a tape measure beside it. No, they weren't pictures. I'm sorry, hand drawings.
Yes, they were hand
Drawings with a tape measure beside it. And I'm recreating them at my house, sending them to Mike, and he's sending them back to Paul. And that is how, during the pandemic, these got drawn up. So soon as we got back to work, we were able to get in here and start working on those knives and fine-tuning them and getting Paul a set quickly that he could get up and test. Because we get, just because you drew it on paper does not mean it's...
Oh, faux show.
Yeah. So we had to...
It could be not real great.
Yeah, it may or may not work out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we got him some testing sets back, and he was able to run them through their paces. Made a couple small changes to the overall idea.
Yeah.
And
Nothing major, though.
nothing major. Well, he drew them up to start with,
Yeah.
so we were very good about getting them close.
Yes.
He gave me as many measurements as he could with a tape measure in his drawings. I reproduced them, sent the drawings back. He was good to go. We cut them
And
out
he
on
was super
steel.
kind to actually do them in empirical measurements and not millimeters because he is Canadian.
Yeah, no, we pulled it together. Now, on our end, we wanted to do what we call a grind-through technology. Is we have a special setup to where we taper tang these, but they're done top to bottom, looking at a knife instead of tapered in the tail.
Correct.
So we do that first, and then we put a chisel grind on the presentation side, which is a very shallow chisel, actually, because it's already been tapered.
Right.
So it's a real interesting grind. They cut fantastic. They're really,
They are
really,
slicey.
really cool. Really cool. We put thumb scallops like we do on our bushcraft knives, but these aren't really thumb scallops. They're more pinch points. Right, Nick? I mean, that's kind of...
They're definitely shaped the same. We use a similar technique to make them. But because of the overall design of the knife and the layout of the handles, it functions definitely more efficiently as a pinch point. So, yeah, I would definitely agree that just because of the way that you guys drew everything up, they fit better that way than as on like a Genesis. Your thumb really rests in there, and the design of the knife, that's why it's a thumb scallop.
Right.
But yeah.
And we pull the top of the handles back. I know Tyler and I
the
went over that
reverse
pretty
swoop.
hard on when he's getting them glued up and stuff to get that worked out. Right? They all...
Yeah. Yeah, they're all pushed back a little ways, and they all got a downhill slope to them.
Yeah,
Right.
reverse drop.
Yeah,
way.
kind of reverse. And they work out well on a kitchen knife for sure.
Yeah.
And then Sammy does most of the setups and grinds on that for the most part. That slicing knife.
Those were
one.
in general quite the learning curve on grinding because we'd never done it that way before, or at least I haven't
Yeah,
done
right.
a tapered knife like that. So figuring all that setup out, and of course Nick was a big help with that. He probably knows a little bit more on the grind through part than I do. But once we got that figured out, the actual grinds, man, they came out so nice and so thin and just sharpened up so well.
I think
Yeah,
that was more in the
you
way.
set a good mic up on those and really pull those down tight. Well, the whole grind through thing started a while back. I had an idea, and Nick and I figured it out really just using shims and
Best
cut
guessing.
off pins and everything else, and just shimming things up, and found this angle and did some testing, and then we had Greg make us an actual dial that now that we can use. But it was a way to take some of the weight and help us improve balance, I think, on some of these knives. And again, even though these were Paul's drawings and kind of like prototypes for him, we came up with the new techniques and stuff, so it was all brand new to us too. So it was all learning curve all the way through. But man, did they turn out great, all the way right up to the sharpening.
The chef's knife is my favorite. Any sort of overgrind that I get to sharpen, that's my favorite. But they all sharpen up quite well. Being so thin, very, very easy to sharpen, and should be easy to resharpen for that matter.
Mhm.
But the chef's knife having a little bit more weight to it, overgrind, I can get all the way through the back of the knife. Sharpening it, it's very, very sharp.
Right. Mikey, why don't you tell them about the knife roll concept? with
that
particular
was
kit?
easy. Chef Paul just said, I need a way to transport these, and chefs around the world always compare their knife rolls like that's a thing. It's like having a cool snap-on toolbox. And
Know
so
that.
we called Spen and we're like, we need the coolest knife roll that you can possibly make. And he's like, okay, what's it for? And I explained to him the concept of the show, and he's like, I got some ideas. And he sent us this prototype that was ridiculous.
Pretty,
It
pretty
has
cool.
a live edge on it,
Yeah.
and
An integrated strop, a cord-wrapped handle on the case itself, an adjustable shoulder strap.
you got to go to the website and check it
Yeah.
out. The photographs,
The
Anthony
suede on the
Awaken took.
inside of it's
they're
absolutely
they're
gorgeous.
beautiful. Anthony Awaken has taken some fantastic photographs for us. This whole kit is awesome.
Yeah.
So Paul Chef Knife, they're fantastic. They turned out wonderful. You guys should check those out. Now, also with the Wild Harvest theme, we needed to get a foraging tool.
Well, yeah, and
So-
we did the machete.
Well,
for
that's a
Spider-Man.
Survivor Man
Yeah.
machete. But I'm saying with the Wild Harvest theme, we wanted to get Les was looking for a foraging tool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Elaine had, like the Hory Horys, in one Christmas year, she kind of rough sketched up a Hory Hory of what she would like. And then we, modded it a little bit to what we could grind, naturally, and then made it for her. And we sold a few of them at Christmas time. And it was a really cool thing. So that's where we started. We kind of said, hey, Les, we have this Hory Hory. Let's start there. So we made him one, got it out there. He had some things he wanted to change.
Yes.
So,
The big thing was that he wanted a handle that he could pound with his fist or the palm of his hand into the ground to cut roots, dig deeper. He wanted to be able to beat on the handle, and he wanted to just know that he could generally abuse the knife and it would survive.
So we built a pretty beefy 5/32 A2 piece. Has a bit of a false grind, almost shaped like a shovel, a small spade,
Yep.
but still has an edge for cutting roots or chopping at
If
roots
you
and
basically
stuff.
took a garden trowel and turned it into a knife, I think you would.
Yeah, without the curve,
Yes.
though it's still kind of flat. And then he liked it quite a bit, and we're excited about it. It
Yeah,
was a
that-
big hit when we showed it to some people. It was a huge hit. People were really digging on it. So that
Some of
so
our
it did there.
survival instructor friends that are
I
into
know, I got that
foraging
myself. That was good.
are very excited about that tool.
Yeah, it was a cool concept. So that's kind of the Wild Harvest thing, and that does go along with the show. Just a heads up for future podcasts, we are looking to get both Paul and Les to call in on a future show. We're working the details out, so we're going to have
Nice.
them and do. We hope to do individual shows with them and a Wild Harvest show. So we'll see about that. Now, moving on, there are a couple other things that we're working with Les on, and one of them is the machete.
Yes.
And the machete was based upon our overland machete, but with some changes that he wanted to make
Yeah.
for himself.
Yeah, he had gotten a hold of one of our overland machetes and basically was like, "This is really cool, but," and dropped the. I really wanted a contoured handle. I don't use the rear lanyard tube. I wanted it to be slicier in the first 12 inches of the blade, and then heavier out on the end for chopping, and that's how we ended up with the Survivor.
That was a
machete.
fun grind to play around
Right.
with too and really nail down. So I had no idea what I was doing going into that.
Until I tell people that it's dual ground like that, they don't notice. That's how
Yeah,
good the
you don't
fade is.
it's hard to, and even after you tell them, it's kind of like, what?
You really got to look
Well,
for it. at
that
the fade
first
point.
half of the knife is thin ground, and then that out there at the end of it where it's bulbous is more like an axe. So it's a really cool piece. We're going to get into probably a lot more of that whole collection and talking about the machete and stuff in future shows. So stay tuned for that. We're also working on another project with Les, and we'll tell you about that when we actually have something to talk about. So that's kind of interesting. So moving on. Oh, I'm sorry. If you haven't checked out the show, it's on PBS.
Yes, in the U.S. It's
In the
on
U.S., it's all around the world on.
Nat Geo in Asia and
Yeah. So
Australia.
you can
also
check
watch
this
season
out.
1 on YouTube on the Wild Harvest
So
TV YouTube channel.
So the Wild Harvest television show, quite interesting. Check that out. Okay, some of the other knives that we make for specific, I guess we'll call them exclusives for some people, are the Knife Connection Forest Trail.
I love this knife.
Yeah.
This has always been one of my favorite.
Forest
knives
Trail has been
ever since the
around.
way back days.
Matter of fact, I think that might be the oldest one that we do as an exclusive.
I think it
I
is.
think so.
Years.
that in the
That
basement.
was back in Blind Horse days in the basement.
Yeah.
You're right. Dale Stoops of the Knife Connection. Sadly, we lost Dale this past Christmas time, but his son Ethan is still running the business. A fantastic business, great family. Support them if you can. The Forest Trail was his drawing. He came to us and said, "Hey, would you make this for me? For our company?"
That's
And-
easily one of our most underrated knives.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was a 5-inch bushcraft knife before 5 inches was,
Even talked about.
well, I mean, before it was like, hey, let's make 5-inch, 6-inch knives. Back when 4 was the sweet spot,
Yeah.
he was out there ahead of that. What a great knife, contoured. We did build
Thumb shelf.
quite a few of them over the years, no doubt. So the Forest Trail, and then he had the other one. I don't know that they're continuing to make that one, but it was called the Woodland Trail, which was a smaller version.
Yeah, they're still on their website if you want to take a look. Because I actually just recently looked at one myself. Because it's been a while since since we have done a run of those.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those knives. I think that's really the sleeper of the line, where it was really just a fun tool. It was a nice shape. It had a lot of great features, and yeah, if you can get one, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, the Forest Trail and the Woodland Trail both were Dale's drawings sent to us, and we worked them backwards from there. And those were both, you know what, there might even be flat versions. I was going to say
I was
there's
just gonna
Saber
say,
and Scandi.
The Forest Trail is one of the few models that no matter what grind you hand it to me, and I'm going to love it. Flat Saber Scandi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
That-
think they all three just
I
came
agree.
out fantastic.
And we did, I don't think we did all three anymore, but boy, we used to do.
I think we do more Sabers and Scandis now than anything.
Yeah.
I
The
think
But I
flat
do
grinds
remember
are
doing
interesting.
flats.
Yeah, I
the
do too.
Saber, I think, always looked like was just aesthetically the nicest. But man, you could not beat those flats for slicing.
Oh,
They
goodness,
were
no.
Just great.
I think
Super
those are
comfortable
530
handle,
seconds,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
those stock 530 seconds on that. Now, another knife that we exclusively do for him is a Woodland Pro 4.0.
Yeah.
Now, that was our knife. And the story behind that was we made a few, as we do, some one-off things for, it might have been a Christmas show.
I think
I'm
it
not
was.
100% sure.
Okay.
Was it? Maybe.
It was
Yeah.
similar to the bush pig.
Yeah, it was
It shared
in
some DNA with that,
you know,
but yeah.
roughly. Boy, it's almost like the old bush pig and a large northern hunter.
Yeah, kind of,
Yeah.
because it's
Kinda,
got that
yeah.
sweep to it. It's
Yeah, it has that
That's
sweep.
another one though. I really enjoy that one.
So, the Woodland Pro started out as a one-off or just like a 5-run or something. There was something special about it.
Yeah.
He ended up with a couple of them somehow, sold them very quickly, and was excited about that knife and said, "Hey, can you make these exclusively for us?" Well, we worked out the deal and told him how many we had to make in order to make it an exclusive, and we started making them. And he's done quite well with that particular knife, and that's a really good knife. I like it. It's a good-looking knife.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. So if you get a chance, check out the Knife Connection. They have some fantastic one-offs, exclusives. They carry all of our knives naturally, but those you might want to take a second look at some of those, especially the Forest Trail. I'd say that's his crown jewel right there, because that was such a cool knife to make. And as I said, it's the first exclusive I remember making. So that was
That's the old one.
yeah.
And we've
That's a good
done
one.
tons of kydex for that particular.
Oh yeah.
And the kydex, I have to really give a lot of credit to Sam on this one. They are, I mean, no joke, the nicest kydex sheath I've ever seen and messed with. I mean, they are just awesome.
Yeah.
There is just certain models out there that are a breeze to put in Kydex, and they just work fantastic no matter how you do it.
It just clicks.
It
right?
just clicks.
But
Just clicks.
That's a Kydex joke
Or,
for you
I guess,
non-Kydex people.
Wait, would that be hashtag IF?
If you know, you know.
Yeah, IFA.
If you
yeah,
click,
well,
you
yeah,
click.
yeah.
Wow. Scott just made a new thing.
Nice
Uh-huh.
job.
If you click, you
You
click.
click.
They
So-
must have gotten better since we did them in the basement.
Yeah, they didn't click when Scott and I did them back in the old days.
It was more like a.
Yeah.
Wow, wasn't that? No, they just kind of smoothly
Well,
went in, smoothly
We
came
filled
out.
them with gravel, and then
Yeah.
we snapped
Gotcha.
them in, and
Well, that's sort of a
self-clearance,
field
and then they
trialing.
were good.
Yeah. That's back in the early days of the slide lock. And
That'll
we
buff
sure
Is that
could
when you
lock
used to
'em.
have to heat it up in the oven in the kitchen
Upstairs
and run
and
down the
run
stairs?
No,
downstairs.
it wasn't that early.
Not that bad.
Well, we had our toaster oven right there on the bench. That I will
Let's
say.
not whack LT today.
No, that's
whack it
let's not. Nick's right. So check out Knife Connection. They have some
It's
really
not a whack.
really cool
that was a
products.
legitimate thing that occurred.
I know.
Yeah, but it kind of sounded wacky.
No.
No, it is legit. That's how we used to do it in the old days. Hey, you have to start somewhere, right?
Everybody,
Your side here, bud.
everybody's
Before
got
automatic
Kydex
shovels, you
burns.
had to do it by
Everybody's
hand.
got 'em.
So anyway, DLT has some exclusives as well, and they have 3 right now going on. One being the Outback, which again, what
Another
a
rock
great
star knife.
sweet spot, contoured handle. Sold a ton of them.
If you took a bush pig and you crossed it with a GNS, or I don't know, maybe if you took a forest trail and crossed it with a GNS, something like that.
No, maybe more
got
bush
sort
pig because it has a big blade. It has
Yeah.
that bigger blade profile. It is
Maybe
a
it's static
realistically cool knife, just all the way around. We've sold a lot of them
It's
to
kind
him.
Of, to me, it looks like with the Scatty Crafter kind of.
Yeah,
okay.
there you
If it
go,
evolved,
Scatty.
Scatty
Okay,
Crafter
Scatty
and
with a
GNS got
yeah,
together
Scatty
and
GNS kind of.
Yeah.
I think you're
Yep,
more
yep,
right with
yep,
that.
Yep.
But again, Jason brought us that drawing and asked us to make it, and we made. Oh man, we have made a ton of those knives.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
We have done a ton of those things. So check out the Outback. I know there's some overseas because I've seen pictures of some of the overseas bushcraft stuff.
Yeah.
We get quite a lot of questions from that, and Elaine has to simply say that is an exclusive. You got to talk to Jason about it. So the
That's
Outback
one of those
is
knives
a
we
very,
get requested to make it in a variety of steels.
Yeah, I think that one started life in 3V,
Yes.
right? That would have been
Yeah, it's always been a 3V.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that
Oh.
one definitely is worth looking for. If you don't have one, boy, if you could just get one to handle, you'll fall in love with it and end up owning it.
If you want
Such a
one
great
in
knife.
natural micarta matte finish, he has one in stock.
Is
right
there
now.
one in stock? I know they sell really quick.
In a saber grind.
Now, a knife that we started doing recently for him, maybe in the last year and a half, is the daily carry. And again, drawing, he sent some ideas that he liked the way we made, I think, Frontier Valleys and different things. And he had an idea for what he called a daily carry and has sent down the drawings. And we have since sent him a bunch of those that he has done well reselling the daily carries. And it's a cool
That's
knife.
oh yeah, that's a cool little
It's small and a great everyday carry. It works right into the theme that they were going for.
knife.
with that
Overall
particular
length,
one.
a little over 6.5 inches, so definitely an EDC type.
Yeah, very
knife.
Frontier Valley
blade.
size, I guess. Yep. And then he
1/8 inch
also,
steel, ABL.
DLT also carries the Jesmic C, which is the smaller version of the Jesmic knife. And that is an AEBL. That knife was designed by Chris Tanner, Prepared Mind 101, and it is exclusively carried by DLT Trading and Jason up there. Again, a nice size working knife with a sweep blade or curved blade on it. And those, Scandi, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
those are
Scandi
only in
only.
Scandi.
Only Scandies.
Now, Outback's Saber and Scandi.
Yes.
And daily carries, I'm thinking.
Those are just,
like
so
full
far,
flats.
are a high saber.
High Saber on those. Okay, yeah. I was thinking we didn't do any Scandis yet. But the Outback can get either way, and the Jesmic C can get in Scandi.
Yep.
So, again, 3 great offerings right there from DLT. And what a great company to work with. Both Knife Connection, DLT, great companies to work with. You guys will not go wrong supporting both of those guys. So check out their stuff.
And the daily carry looks killer in some Kydex. Just going to throw that in there.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, I definitely like that. Now, another company that we work with for an exclusive is Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Guys down at Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
Now, this is another one of my
This
faves.
is now the story behind that is they came to us and asked us for an exclusive. They did not have a drawing, didn't have. They probably had some ideas, but it just so happened, and
They
I
pretty
mean,
much just
literally,
said, we want a bird and trout and knock yourself out.
yeah, it was kind of like, here's the direction we want to go,
you
and
knocked
I
it
was
out,
working
let me tell ya.
I was working on some drawings at that time, I think,
Yes.
very similar to what we were heading down that road, and they were like, hey, we're looking at about this, and I thought, I think I might have something, give me a day or two and get it down to you. So we drew up what we call the Bandit and submitted it to them. They fell in love with it, ordered a ton of them, and we have been making that knife for the last, 2, maybe 3 years?
3 years.
And making a lot of them.
Yes.
Now that again is a high
Yes,
saver.
a very high saver. Makes
Thin,
for great
longer
sharpened
blade.
edge.
Oh my gosh, yes. AEBL, what a fantastic handle. This is one of those knives that when you see it from a distance, it looks like a Corvette. The lines are fantastic. It's just a great knife. And every single one of those comes with a lanyard.
They do indeed.
And they come with Scott ties a lanyard for every single band.
Yep.
Is that a circle or round one? I don't.
It's a round Senate knot.
So square? Is that what you're saying?
No, squares. The other ones I make.
No, yeah, it is a round one.
Let's just talk
and
about
they
the
look-
fact that it's the Smoky Mountain Knife Works Bandit. Come on.
Yeah, it is the Mike is
Smoky?
so. Do you
Bandit?
understand? You know why? Because
Smoky
wait,
Bandit.
Bandit.
I know.
That's an old people joke for those.
Look
of you
at
that
how
don't
look at him
get it.
smiling. Because it was
This
his.
is
Do
the
we
picture
make
of
a-
Mike you need to post.
Yeah.
He's got this big old.
This
Can
is
we make
like-
a black-handled one with snowflake?
Because when I went to
Mosaic
LT, I'm like,
pins?
we got to call this the Bandit. He's like, why? I'm like,
well,
Smokey and the
I kind of
Bandit.
knew
And then
why.
he was
You know,
like, I'll ask him.
I
And then
never-
they liked it.
I never put two and two together.
Same.
Wow, you should get with Scott and have a hashtag of your own.
Man.
Never did
Jeez.
that.
Never crossed my mind.
But in all fairness,
But
and I
now that
know-
it has,
You will never see it anymore.
I will never forget it.
Hashtag
Can you,
not a car guy.
Oh, Mike was
Laser
so
the
proud of
fire
himself.
chicken on the
Now wait,
knife.
now
for us?
wait.
I
have
could laser
some-
that on there.
You guys are gonna freak probably. In all fairness, I've never seen Smokey and the Bandit.
Get out right now.
Mike, cut
Leave.
his mic.
So if I
We're
said
gonna have
it-
to
Cut
take
his
away your.
microphone.
If I said it should come with
Neither has Sam.
Hey,
he
whoa,
just said
whoa!
so.
No, I did not. I didn't say that.
And
I know
neither
what
one
it
of them
is,
have
at
probably
least.
seen Princess Bride, so they should just go home now.
Well, I'll see y'all next time then.
Yeah. Anyway,
Tyler,
yeah.
have
So
you seen-
so Mike
I have.
Mike
seen
is
Smokey and the
responsible
Bandit.
for the name. I will. No, there's no doubt he is.
we should
and
make.
that-
You know, I know it's exclusive to them. Even if
Yeah.
we make it for them to sell or put in a showcase, we should really make one as much like the Trans Am as possible. Black handles, special
can we get
mosaic
some-
pins.
Can we get some honeycomb so it looks like the snowflake wheels?
That's what I mean. Yep, something like that. And I
Yeah.
can, I'm sure, find the script Bandit from the door somewhere online and laser that on the blade. Put Frog on the other side. We could make a really fancy one.
Uh-huh.
All right, it's on the back burner.
And then you go. But anyway, check out the Bandit. The Bandit is a fantastic bird and trout knife.
LT's
It's
way of saying
fantastic.
no.
I love that thing. So that is a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive. And what about, again, a bunch of great guys to work with. My goodness. Friends with all of them. They're so fun. Smoky Mountain Bandit, what a great knife. Check that thing out.
And a cool store.
Yeah, really cool store.
Go to
Enjoy
the store.
going there.
Holy cow.
If you ever find
Yep.
yourself at Dollywood,
Yep. I think I
Seaver?
bought
Seaver?
my last. Let me
Severe.
see. My last Leatherman I got there. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So we do have more exclusives to talk about, and one of them is from Knife Ship Free, and it's called the Rogue River. Again, going back a number of years, Derek, and sadly Derek has passed a few years ago, had come to us and said, guys, I'm looking for an exclusive. And I said, well, what do you got in mind? And he said, well, I need that sweet spot bushcrafter, you know, and again did not submit a drawing. Kind of gave some parameters, and I drew it up and back channeled it to him, and made a prototype, which they made a few revisions to, got back to us, and then we fine tuned it. And the Rogue River is what came out of that. And what a cool knife that is. What a cool knife. Sammy, I think you've ground all Scandies last time.
Yeah, this
We got
most
that,
recent
right?
round
Yeah,
we
well,
started
those were
doing
all
Scandies. But originally they were convex.
They were convex, the original batches, and then they have recently switched over to Scandi Grind. What a great knife. Good size.
I hate to say
like
that
it
I like
all
it
the
better
way
in
around.
Scandi than I do in convex.
As do I.
I do
The
like the
Scandi
looks of
Ground
it.
is,
Yeah.
ooh,
I do as well.
it is a
Yeah.
good looking knife.
Yeah. It
To
was
start
always
with.
very comfortable, but it just
Yeah.
something about the convex, like it looked good. I mean, you guys
Oh, and
do a
it
great
was
job grinding them, but
pretty
that
slicey.
Scandi just
The Rogue River, and so that is a knife ship free exclusive, and you guys need to. Jay is doing a great job
named
running that
after
company.
the river in Oregon when they used
Yeah,
to be in
that's
Oregon.
where he got the name. You're right. You're right. Out that way, and what a great knife, and again a good company to work with. Actually, all of our dealers, straight across the board, just a good bunch of folks, and hopefully a lot of you guys have dealt with our dealers directly, and you can say the same thing because they are top notch in the business, man, straight across the board. So that is the Rogue River from Knife Ship Free. Knife Ship Free, the Rogue River. What a great knife. Now, also, Ben from Ben's Backwoods and Jason from Lester River Bushcraft came to us a number of years ago with what you would call a Lagome drawing,
Yeah,
of a
the
sense.
Puko.
And well, I guess what became the Lagome.
Right. But I mean, that knife is, that style of knife is called a Lagome too. So it makes
So-
total sense.
So it is a very good bushcraft knife. We sell tons of them. Ben sells a lot of them from his store. When I say we sell tons of them, we sell them to Ben.
Yeah.
Ben sells them. They're an
Ben
exclusive.
buys a lot.
Right, they're an
Yeah.
exclusive for those guys. So the Lagome was the first.
Yes.
Then did we do the Camrat and then
Yes.
the
Yeah,
Leoku?
then
Was it in that
we did
order?
We did the Camrat,
Okay.
but we
Then the
worked on
Camrat.
Leoku
We were
for a
working
long
on the
time.
Leoku about maybe about the same times. That's why I'm getting confused.
Yep.
But again, these were sketches that were submitted by them with the ideas submitted by them for what we were going to work with. Right now they are in an 01 with Scandi Grind on both the Lagome and the Camrat. Actually, the Leoku is
Yep,
a-
all three of
is
them
a,
are Scandis.
Scandi
Yeah.
Grind too. And what a nice trio of knives. Good sizes,
Yeah.
all the way across the board. 01, a simple using steel, and it just works.
And there is
Just
a
works.
picture out there of Morris Kachansky with one of the Camrats in his neck sheath out there.
Hmm.
It's so cool to see that.
Yeah. But this, again, their design is such a great product. And Ben and Jason, good guys to work with. You should check out their website for availability. I know that we're, every month or two, we're running
we just,
something.
We just did a run of all
always,
three
yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So they're always getting these and they're always selling them. So what a great knife and great ideas behind the knife. You know, these are real traditional bushcraft kind of tools.
Yeah, very.
And they were really digging on them. So check out Ben's Backwoods and Lester River Bushcraft and see what they have for Lagome Camrats and the Leuk, because you guys are going to check, or you're going to really dig those knives. I like them a lot. They are, I'd say the Lagome is, because we use heavy gauges on them and we have some very tight tolerances all the way around. They're one of our hardest simple knives to make.
Yeah, doing a batch of those
As
is always,
oddly as that
like,
sounds.
You got to get in the right headspace, and you got to really be on top of your game.
And
to
don't
finish
bother
them.
Nick when he's making them.
Because it's really if you look at the pictures of them, and you can kind of get an idea for what we're talking about. It's, as LT said, extremely simple. It's round all over with a squared off tail, and that sounds easy, and it is not. So,
It's a very hard, simple knife.
Yes.
It is. It's one of those ones we have to set up, and when we get in the groove doing them, and that even goes for the grind side, we do the batch. We don't do a couple and do something else. We set up.
Do them
It's
all
like,
at once.
I am going to set up, I'm getting my gauges, and I'm doing these now. And you just do them front to back and without any interruptions and keep moving forward. Because that way, once you get in the groove and you got it in your head, you're good to go. So
That's probably the one knife that we make that across the board you can pick up one, you can pick up 100 of them, they're all going to feel.
yeah, they're going to be really
They're really
well,
close.
because we also made gauges like first off.
Yeah, from the very
And-
first run, we've
yeah.
used the gauge because we really, going back and forth with Ben and Jason, we really wanted those to be like beyond tight. I mean, that's
Yep.
as close to being a human CNC as we've managed, I think.
Right.
With maybe one exception, and I think it's on your list to get to, but yeah, so I won't spoil it. But yeah.
We definitely do that one with the gauges. We have a set of go no go gauges that we use for all three of those pieces actually.
And I
that
mean, definitely don't misunderstand. All our knives are pretty tight.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone that finishes knives here in particular has, the concept of what the knife is supposed to look like in their head, and that's what we do. It's sort of a sculpting process in a way. No matter whether it's a contoured handle or something straight or whatever, they all fall into these basic parameters of what it's supposed to look like. But with these, again, we really just took it to the next level and stepped up our game. And yeah, they are, as Mike said, very, very similar from batch to batch.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
If
Now, go ahead.
Well, just if somebody doesn't know what this go no go gauge thing is, it's basically a U-shaped piece of micarta that the front and back of the handle gets laid in, right? And it either fits or it doesn't.
Well, in the center, we do 3 points on
Yep.
most knives.
Front, middle, back.
Yeah. So
well,
any of the
I meant
gauges,
wherever
right?
they're measuring,
Yeah.
dropped into
Yep.
this U shape, it either goes or
It's,
doesn't.
a static
That's all.
caliper kind of thing. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, we do also make knives, and I'm going to go over all three of these because they are all of our Genesis knives. We make knives for Carly Fairchild, which she was on season
3 and 8, I believe.
Yeah, 2 seasons of Alone. I can never remember the numbers.
hard to keep track.
And then Larry
Patagonia
Roberts.
and Mongolia. We'll go with that.
Okay. And then Larry Roberts, who carried our knife on the Alone show as well. And we also make a version of our Genesis for a company called Logox, who came to us and wanted to brand our knife for their company, I think is right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they. So they have a really cool logo and a great product. You should check out Logox.
Yes. If
I
you
think
do
it's
any type of
logox.com.
foresting or your own firewood harvesting,
Yep.
strongly recommend the Logox.
And
Yep.
don't they offer? They do matching fire seals. Is that part of it, or is that separately?
Separately, but
Okay.
yes, they do offer matching fire steels to their knives.
So all three of those particular brands, they are rebranded Genesis. The Larry Roberts, the Carly Fairchild, and the Logox version. So they are our Genesis, but we brand them specifically for them. And I think on the last program we talked about Carly and Larry a little bit,
Yeah.
and letting you guys know that they carried our knives without us knowing they carried our knives, and we actually became friends and have our working relationship post them being on the show, not before. So that's quite interesting. They carried our product first, and then we
Yeah, that's such a
Reached
surreal
out to
feeling
him.
to think that someone walked into a store and picked a knife that the 5 of us, 6 of us made, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
just said like, I'm going to stake my life on that.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Now that really is like a
That's cool.
yeah.
That's way cool.
It's a cool feeling.
Oh, it keeps you humble. It
Absolutely.
definitely, but it also
And you
lets
thought
us
shopping
know that
for a
we're.
car was hard.
Huh?
And you thought shopping for a car was hard. Imagine trying to pick the knife that you had to go survive.
Oh, you
on.
got to go boot shopping with
And
me.
Carly's always so like, just yeah. I walked
Oh.
in the store. I talked to him for a while. I liked the brand,
Yeah,
I'll take
so I'll take it.
and then she
know.
went and lived in
But
the
that
woods
was
by
also like the
herself
5th
for
or 6th store she had been to. She
yeah.
doesn't
but
always throw that part out.
She's so mellow about it, and Larry too, really.
Nah, man, they're both great people, and the people at Logox love working with them. So our
We've actually
Genesis.
had 3 Genesis on a loan.
Well, say that again.
We've had 3 Genesis on loan. Chris Weatherby was on season 1.
Oh, right.
The
And he carried,
DWX.
actually, he carried a Genesis in Kydex, huh?
Yeah, the DWX.
The DWX, that's been a while back.
So
I,
we have
I
had
remember
3
pausing
Genesis.
the TV to take a picture to send to my grandmother.
It's like,
Say, look, I made that.
It's like, I'm so proud. Yeah. But they're great folks, a great company. So check out Logox. Like Mike said, if you're into wood stuff, camping, firewood stuff, Logox has some cool product you
And
might
if you like
wanna
reading, check out Angry American.
Yep. So there
I
you go.
do like his books. He's
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Good books on that.
He gets fun on Facebook too. If you ever hang out for his live streams.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. And we make a knife for Nature Reliance School. Craig Caudill.
This is probably
Craig?
my most favorite knife that we do not sell.
Most favorite knife we do not sell. I can remember Craig and his wife came up here.
Super awesome.
We went into the office and he had some knives that he's like, man, I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. Can we get this kind of molded all together?
Yeah, and he
In a
wanted a
sense.
modern version of a Pioneer knife. basically.
Yeah, or long knife,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we sat down and we're talking and sketching. Now we had already known Craig. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it was he would just walked into the shop. So we had I think he'd already been carrying our product.
Yeah, he was a brand ambassador at that
Yeah.
point already.
Yeah, what was he using, a Genesis maybe? Or
He has a couple of
remember?
different things. He
Yeah.
used a bunch of our knives at his classes. He was a big fan of the Genesis and the Bushcrafter for
Okay.
sure.
So when he came, I do remember, setting some knives down, looking at them, and sketching out this idea. But at the time, I had just rediscovered a knife that I had made years ago called the Trekker. And I think I may even had one laying on the desk.
You
if I
had
rem-
Stumpy's original.
Stumpy. He had given it to me because
Yeah.
we were going to do some stuff, and then I was like, Craig, what do you think of this handle? And basically handed it to him. He absolutely loved that handle,
Yeah.
so we incorporated our Trekker handle into his knife design, and that's where we came up with the overall concept of the chimneys. Now, I'm just saying we used the Trekker handle in his design, meaning he was in charge of designing that knife.
Yeah.
I was simple.
He basically said, "I really like this handle. Let's
Yeah.
put this on."
I'm simply the pencil guy.
Yeah.
I'm drawing it out on paper, and he's making some corrections and moving things around, and I'm, getting it to suit him because that's who we're building the knife for.
Well,
And what a cool knife it turned out to be.
and as a real quick aside on that, if you ever have the idea and the opportunity to make a knife and you get the chance to sit down with LT and do it, you really couldn't ask for a better person to do that kind of thing with, because every year we do the 12 Days of Christmas, and that's where the guys in the shop here all design a knife and we make it and then we sell it on the Pound House. Well, he's had some we've all come up with some really interesting ideas, but LT is the one that figures out how to really make that happen and make it real. And that sounds easy, but it is not. You really are. You're awesome at that.
Well,
I mean, when
get
somebody
lucky.
says put this Bushcrafter blade on a Frontier First handle,
Yeah. We've probably had
Something
that
like that.
question. Yes. We've had some.
Long trail.
I've had to really squeeze some knives into shape. We'll just say that on their Christmas
He makes it
things.
look easy, but I'll tell you, it is.
It's
not.
fun though.
It is
I
not
do like
easy.
doing it, and I do like sitting down. Like that day we had Craig and his wife in there.
Yeah.
That was a great day, man.
Yeah,
we had
that
fun.
was like an hour of just throwing
just going
ideas
back and
together.
forth. And what a great knife! My
Yes.
gosh, he has sold a bunch of them, and they are fantastic
And
tools.
closet, one of the best kitchen knives ever.
What the?
The
Oh, that.
Chamonix.
The Chamonix.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Love
there you
that
go.
knife in the kitchen.
What a fantastic knife all the way around. I'm so happy for him and so glad that he chose us to help him bring that knife to fruition.
And if you
That's
ever
so cool.
buy one of his knives and you get the opportunity to go to his Long Hunter class where he walks you through all the things that knife can and cannot do, it is a lot of fun.
Or just sit down and talk with Greg, because
Well,
again, another
Yeah.
super awesome guy.
Yeah, got a lot of knowledge to share and shares it.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
very free with
And
knowledge.
it's nice for me, especially because he tends to look at things from a very anthropological perspective, and that's what I like too. So it's very cool to talk to him.
Yep, right on. So go ahead.
Wait. I can say this knife, the Chamonix, is one I've numerously put up pictures on Instagram and tagged them on because this is one of the perfect storm knives for sharpening anyway. That when I sharpen a bunch of them, they come out just wicked sharp.
Yeah.
Similar to the first time that I really got the hang of sharpening and did the Scatty Crafters in the basement. The light bulbs were flicking and coming on. Same with this knife. For whatever reason, the height and the thickness and the sharpened edge.
It is
and
a
the
perfect
grind,
storm of height and thickness and
it's
steel
fantastic,
because
and
it's
it is
AEBL too.
wicked
Yeah,
sharp.
1/8 inch.
1/8 inch AEBL, and Sammy can get them edges pulled down, and it's such a sweep.
It's
Yeah.
one of the knives that sharpens in 4 passes, and then I buff it, and it'll remove a kidney if it has to.
Right on. So
I have
check
also
out.
put a slew of those in Kydex.
Oh yeah, that's
And
another
they look
Kydex.
fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
because
One of those
he'll be
knives
the
lends
first
itself
person to
Kydex.
tell you he went to a man tracking class in Virginia. It was 14 days, and it rained all 14 days. And he was working with DEA agents, I believe. Just absolutely poured. And every person's knife there rusted except for his because he had a Chamonix and Kydex. And he swears that is the perfect combination, AEBL and Kydex,
Huh.
Yeah.
to prevent rust.
I love that steel to start with.
Yes.
And what a long, beautiful knife to put it on. So Craig has done well with that design. Really, really cool. Well, that moves us on to our friends at Hill People Gear.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Well, first of all, I was a fan,
Yes.
just from
I
the
don't think
backside.
any of us weren't.
Yeah, we all had something
Nick
Hill
gives you
People
a cup
Gear.
of Hill People Gear Kool-Aid when you walk in the door.
I can
Just-
just shout out to all the guys at Hill People Gear and Scott
Ju-
and Evan and Kevin. I mean,
Just so you know, I carry their attaché every day of my life.
Ditto.
I have a belt,
amateurs.
and what do you call the chest rig?
Kit bag.
Kit bags.
Kit bag.
Kit bag.
Okay, I have that I take in the woods with me all
So
the
does
time,
Craig Potter.
and
He's a
my
big fan.
travel bag is an Umlindi. Just that that
We've
is
actually
my
had custom Umlindis and
Taramaras.
Taramaras made
Yeah.
for the Pout House.
I
And
was
there
in
might
an
be more
airport
customs coming.
going to Texas. It may have been for a Blade Sports thing, and that's been a number of years ago now that you think about it, right? We've been in the pandemic 2.5 years. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'll just say a number of years ago because I'm in the chute going into the plane. You know whatever that metal thing is, the tube
Tube.
that goes down to the plane.
People tube.
I got my Umlindi on. No kidding. Nobody I know, right? I'm on a plane in Dallas. I do not know this person whatsoever. And he goes, a Hill People Umlindi. And I'm not looking at him. He's behind me, and I just turned over my shoulder and said, "Yeah, you a fan?" And he's like, "Heck yeah, they make great stuff." So yeah, I definitely like their bags. But let's talk about their knife a little bit.
The Coyote.
So Mikey, they approached you, I believe,
Yes.
about
they
doing.
had tried to work with a number of other knife makers to have this concept that they wanted to have built,
Mm-hmm.
and a very good friend of ours at another knife company said, "This is not something that we can make for you, but you need to get a hold of the guys over at LT Wright because they can build it." And we got hooked up with them, and had been friends with them for years from going to Overland Expos with
Mhm.
them,
And buying all their stuff.
and buying their gear.
and basically clearing out their booth
Right.
before they got people there. And we were able to build the Coyote for them, and Nick does an absolutely amazing job on those. And
That's everybody. It's definitely a team.
Those
knife.
are the only, I guess, production brass guarded knife we make.
yes,
Now, we do throw some one-offs now and then, but as far as a production style,
Oh, yeah.
anyway, at one time, that is
and
a
a
really...
gorgeous and very comfortable knife.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. It's got a false clip.
Yeah.
Uh,
530
saber
seconds.
5:30 seconds.
530 seconds.
They're
Yeah,
big
it's
ones.
beefy. Well, they wanted it that way.
They want,
yeah,
yeah,
they wanted it that
They're
way.
hard
It
to use
was-
people.
It was similar to
they're-
the situation with Craig, where they gave us, a few different concepts that they wanted to bring together.
I think they sent in drawings, right?
Yeah,
We
well, they
kind
had
of,
actually gotten to the point where they had CAD
Yep.
drawings done with
and
one
we
of the
just
other
did a
companies.
very, very little
Yeah, they had
mods.
those custom ones.
Yep.
Didn't have to
that
do a lot
they
of
did
mods to
mod.
that, just the way that we put guards on and stuff. I had to
Yeah.
probably make some, some
Yeah,
changes in
and
there
fit them
just to
to
make
our
that work.
spec.
Yeah.
But man, another really cool knife to make. It's a fun knife. Man, when they're finished, they're friggin' awesome. They're just a really
That's
cool.
another fun one to sharpen because they all come out super, super nice.
And it's your favorite with a slight overgrind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
And it is
does.
classy. I mean, that is
Oh, yeah.
classy.
It is a classic, just like the old Whitetail Classic that we used to make years and years ago. That is such a great knife.
And a matte finish on the
Yep.
on the brass and the handle. I think it looks fantastic.
I like it better than polished, to be honest. Personally, it
It's a
suits me.
perfect knife.
So-
I like that.
So definitely check out Hill People Gear stuff
Yep.
and that knife because they get them in limited numbers, sell them, and then we'll make them another batch. So go over and check that out. Now we also do some knives for BC USA. If you guys are familiar with that forum, the guys over at Bushcraft USA approached us about making a knife, and the most popular one that we make for them is their Bushcraft knife, which is loosely based on an old boat tail
Yeah,
design
very similar, but
from years
different.
ago.
Very different.
They do it in a full tang version and an exposed tang version. Very straight-handled knife.
Yeah.
Very, again, a simple knife in design, but man, just fantastic in usability.
Yeah.
Only in Scandi. And
01, I believe.
that's in
Yeah.
01 too?
Yep.
Yeah.
More of a
You're right.
square. This is going to sound silly, probably. More of a square oval, where
Mhm.
the other things that we were talking about, the camrats and the gums, are more of like an egg shaped.
Yeah.
Oval.
Well, even the bush or the boat tails were more
Yeah.
round. Yeah, this one's much more
no.
square. Probably similar to the kitchen knives, a little
Yeah.
bit square with
Yeah.
just a round over.
Definitely
But the
shares
funny
some-
thing is,
yeah.
though, the old knives of my youth, like the Herder's knife
They were
I've
more
talked about, they
square.
were very much that way.
Yeah.
Very flat-sided.
I
They
have
didn't
some old
have a
ones.
lot of the contour to them.
Yeah.
So
I like them. They're very.
this is kind of retro to me. When we make those, I always get that retro feeling
gotcha.
about the bushcraft knife.
But yeah, for that squareness, they are. I mean, they really sit nicely in your hand.
Yep. So if you get a chance to check those out, please do. And then the Sierschetti is another one that we make, and that's a dual grind.
That,
Yeah.
That
Yes,
is actually
that
a
is-
dual.
that was the first. I
Wait a minute,
think.
is that a
They're-
dual Scandi or no?
The first, I want to say, 4 inches is ground on a platen scandied
Yeah.
to 0. And then from there, clear around the curve to the spine is freehand convex scandied to 0.
Yes.
Now,
Boy,
okay,
are they
it's-
Is that a
it's
they are
Scandi
fun.
around the corner because there's no point on this.
Yeah,
This is
right.
a
It's
round
round
knife.
So the tip of the
So-
knife is round.
Yeah.
And,
And
to
sharp.
And sharp, clear
So
around to the
First you've got a
spine.
square oval. Now you've got a
Now
round
you
tip.
have a round.
Please, yes.
Yeah.
Look at a
So
picture. of
it's
this.
pointy
it's an
part is round,
interesting
like
piece. You should check it out. Definitely interesting piece. But for me, that excuse me, the bushcraft knife that we do for them, again, very retro, simple.
Yeah.
I like simple.
Well,
Always liked simple.
it very much reminds me of the classic Moras, but on steroids. Like, it is bulkier and sturdier. And no knock on Moras, I like them.
It's
Yeah.
a growed up pronghorn.
But this knife is, I mean, it is a tank.
Yeah, it's definitely. So check out Bushcraft USA. Great forum if you're into bushcraft to start with.
Oh, yeah.
And again, a great bunch of guys to work with. I am so honored that they chose us to make this knife for them.
Yeah.
So that was very, very cool. Because, I mean, I was on their forum, and they were a very big forum. And for them to reach out to us, I was always very honored by that. So
Definitely.
digging on that. And then we have a couple more to talk about. We have the Shaw and Tinney knives.
Oh,
Now that is based on our next gens,
Yes, sir.
I think, is what we've done for them. Now the cool part about the Shaw and Tinney knives is it's their wood from handmade oars.
Which makes me super nervous when I have to roll
I
it
know.
down. Like, it scares the crap out of me to finish these
The
knives.
nicest
200
maple.
year-old
Or build them
manufacturer.
as well.
Yeah, they
Oh.
are so cool. If you guys are
So
canoeists,
pretty.
right, Mikey? Like
Yeah, canoe kayaking.
handmade
Anyone that has
oars.
a paddle.
Shaw and Tenney, they got their name. They laser it in the side. The wood they give us is left over from the ore. It's
gorgeous.
It's fantastic.
I never knew that's where the wood was from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They have
Oh,
a special
wow.
forest in Vermont where this stuff comes from.
I don't know. It is so cool.
And if you ever look at the boats that they make too,
Oh, I know. Their ores are.
They've been in
the
business since
stuff.
1858.
That is very cool. That is very
it
cool.
is very cool for sure.
So if you are a sportsman, just because, go check out Shaw and Tenney stuff because
Their
it's
website
cool.
is awesome, too.
It's traditional, cool stuff, man. And again, what a great company to work with. I've talked to the president of the company multiple times, and they're just so neat people. Very much like us, not a huge company, but he's just like super easy to get along with. And yeah, I'm going to send you some wood. We're going to do this project. I was like, cool.
They don't seem to think much of the wood sometimes, but
Yeah,
when it gets here,
I know we're in here like,
soon
oh
as
my
it
God,
comes in, I go,
do
"Sign
not
it."
screw that wood up. Do you realize how cool that wood is? Don't screw it up. So we do that. So check out Shaw and Tenney. Now, the last one that I have on my list is our very good friend, David Anderson, who owns Nordsmith Knives.
And if you're familiar with the Knife Center and their YouTube channel, you should be familiar with
David C. Anderson.
larger than average hands, David C. Anderson. Because that's the game. Every time he says it, you got to take a shot.
What?
He says it a lot.
So
Yeah,
what?
it's a drinking game. Every time he comments in a video that he has larger than average
Oh,
hands.
okay. I was confused for a second. I
The
got you.
things you learn.
Now, David was a fan, and he's a Pout House member,
Sure
And an
is.
awesome guy.
and he has come and taken
Knife.
all of the knife courses.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is one of the few people
yes.
that have taken beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Well, wait a minute. Wait, he didn't take the Kydex class. David, you got to come
Wow,
take
you
the
just
Kydex
got called
class.
out, David.
Wow, that hurts a little.
Man, ouch, ouch. Sam's so
He probably
sad.
went to that Tim Stetzer school where you just get cardboard and duct
So,
tape.
so let me tell you,
Hey, if it works.
let me tell you when you talk about knife designs and different things. Let me just tell you, I've been a knife maker a long time, right? This guy, he's a friend of mine.
This guy right
this
here.
guy,
I'll tell you.
he creates
This
something
guy.
called the canteen knife, right?
Yes, he
Which
did.
is a very cool knife. Love this thing. It's great. We've made I don't know how many of them.
Lots.
A lot of them.
A lot.
First knife this guy designs gets on the cover of Knives Illustrated.
knocks it out of the park.
I'm over here making knives for 16 lifetimes,
Right.
right? Now, he gets his knife, and I'm like, David,
Now, to be
do
fair,
you understand you got a knife on the cover? And not only on the cover, it was a big picture.
Yeah.
We have it on the wall in there.
And a couple
I
times
was
now.
so
it's been
It,
on the
excited.
it was 1 inch equals 2 inch. It was.
Oh my
larger.
God! I was so excited for him to have that
Yeah,
knife
it's
on the cover of Knives Illustrated.
And by
And-
default, our knife is on the cover because we
Wha-
make it.
and comfortable.
Was what?
as all
The-
get out.
Our knife is on the cover because we make that.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
not
Oh,
wrong.
believe me, I was proud to have it on there for him, and we had some big posters made and gave him one of the big posters because it was just so cool. I'm so proud of David. He's such a good friend,
Yes. And it's a great design.
and
I mean,
it is a
it's
great.
really
Well,
design.
not only that knife. Now he has designed the canteen knife, which is the big knife. He has designed one called the Lapwing, the Skipjack, and the Pilgrim. Now,
the Pilgrim, I sure love
from
that
a knife maker point of view, I'm sitting over here and I was like, who is this young rookie guy designing cool knives? Because it's really every one of them, and they're unique.
Yeah.
Like that Lapwing, that is
such
a
nice
uniquely interesting knife of its own. Or I don't even know how to say it. It's
rationality
so
put into every single
you're not going to
design.
mistake this for nothing.
Yeah.
If you pair it with the canteen knife, you've got a combination set that would cover.
Oh yeah.
Like, I couldn't really imagine a situation because if you want slicey, you've got the lapwing, and it's long enough where you can do some really nice cutting work. And then you want, your beefy, strong stuff. I mean, the canteen knife is tough to beat that
Oh,
way. I mean,
the canteen is such a sweet spot knife anywhere from kitchen
I was about to say, yeah,
to
like Mike said,
full-on
about the
bushcraft.
Chinese.
No kidding. I
And-
mean,
Kitchen
straight
knife,
up.
Fantastic.
The lapwing and the canteen go great in Kydex, pancaked, piggybacked on each other, so they're both right there when you need them. Just throwing that out there.
But what a fantastic design on really all four of the knives
in
that
the
he's...
Pilgrim, even how he used the liners and the quarter-inch scales to make it the right thickness that he wanted
Right.
to make that whole design work.
A lot of thought when there's no. I mean, he just didn't willy-nilly these. There's no doubt. He definitely thought them through, and I'm very proud to manufacture his knives. There's no doubt about it. I'm glad he came to us when he started, into the idea of having Nordsmith. I'm very blessed that he chose us to be a part of that. And as I said, he's a dear friend. We like David. We've been camping with him.
He is the Quentin Tarantino of knife designs.
Boy, I don't know about that one, bud.
Started in a video store. I mean, handled
Less
a lot
gore.
of knives.
Less
Finally got the
swearing,
direct
lots
movie. I
less
mean,
swearing.
made some knives, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, no,
That's what
he
come to mind for me.
absolutely. If you've got to check out Nordsmith. Is it knives.com or
Yes.
Nordsmith.com? Owen?
Yes, or if you're unsure, go to our website.
Yep,
Go to the
and
knives
click
page.
right on
It's
his
NordsmithKnives.com.
Nordsmithknives.com. There
Just
you
go
go.
from our website.
What a
to get people to come to our
fantastic
website,
design
too.
all the way around, and a great person again to deal with. David is a friend of the company and a personal friend of all of ours. Actually,
Yeah, I was
We,
about to say,
And
we
they all
love
come
him
in
to death.
excellent JRE leather sheets.
Yes,
Or
I'm
fantastic.
saying
Or
it's not
Kydex.
making Kydex.
So we hope you guys liked part 2 because it was fun for us to talk about. It's sometimes when we're talking about them, you kind of remember back and go, oh yeah, that's exactly how this came together. I may have missed stuff because I'm getting older.
We've made a lot of knives.
Yeah, we've made a lot of knives over the
Lot of
year.
knives.
Been blessed by all of the dealers and all of the companies we've worked with and people we've worked with and designed stuff for. Very blessed to be a part of all of those companies all together, and it's helped us get where we are today, and it allows us to continue to make knives every day. So we're very blessed by that. What's your final thoughts?
I'll take the Nordsmith Canteen. I'll take an Outback and Chamonix.
There you go. Ty?
I definitely like the Outbacks and Chamonix, but I prefer the Pilgrims over the canteen knives or the lapwing.
Right on.
I really like the Pilgrim, but I got to take away points for the front because I don't like fronting those knives.
I don't know. I don't mind it.
They are one of the harder ones to front.
it's
I'm
a
not going to
thing,
disagree
yeah.
with you. I won't disagree with you.
So you lose points for me on that book. So I'm going to say Chamonix for the win.
Eh?
Man, that's a tough one to argue with, really, because I love the Traveler.
Yeah.
Go Coyote.
Oh yeah. Good Lord, but they're all my babies.
Yeah,
have
I know.
to love
There's
them
no
all.
favorite for me because I can find a place for all of them.
Oh, I have a favorite right now.
Yeah. Oh, what do you
Oh,
got?
go ahead.
Right now, currently, I need the Wild Harvest kitchen set. I just am gonna need it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Gonna
yeah.
have to just need that.
I love everything else,
Now,
but
if
right
we
now,
can
I need that
somehow
set.
Get a good person to make us a knife block that holds all 8 of those kitchen knives, and then a slot for the Chamonix and the canteen.
Ooh, there you
We're
go.
done.
We just need a kitchen block to take all of our knives, make everybody happy, and
Yeah.
get everything. So if you're undecided, one of each is in your future. So remember that. Hey guys, thanks for listening to us again on the Shack. This is your part 2, so there's no part 3. We have interesting concepts and things. What was that big word I threw out today? Contraption.
Oh,
Contraptions.
And we have contraptions to talk about next
Ooh,
time. I
fancy.
don't even know. But anyway, thanks for listening.
You'll have
God
to
bless
tune
you, and we'll see you next time.
see you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.